Thank you for joining me here this evening. The time is now 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern, and you have a live look at an ongoing severe weather outbreak starting up across sections of central Texas and south central Oklahoma. Right now, a line of thunderstorms producing damaging winds up to 60 miles an hour and isolated flooding is occurring across sections of northern and central Texas. Here, we have a marginal risk of severe weather in place for tonight for sections of central Texas and south central Oklahoma. This goes everywhere from the Red River all the way back down towards the Texas-Mexico border there, and you can see right now we do have a line of thunderstorms working its way through the DFW Metroplex, and this is again currently producing some isolated flash flooding and also likely some gusty winds of 50 to 60 miles an hour. Now, with some of our storms down to the southern tip of this line here, we have had some broad rotation develop, and I've been watching that off and on here through areas like Lampasas, Texas, Gatesville, Texas, and Killeen, Texas, but for the most part, these have fizzled out pretty quickly as we were expecting here over the past few days because the SRH values down here are not incredibly high. We really don't have any cape at all, and overall, the storm mode just is not built for a major tornado threat tonight. But what it is built for is a big-time damaging wind threat. If we take a look at the HRRR model here, we can see by 10 p.m. we could be expecting significant damaging winds all the way from sections of southeastern Oklahoma back through areas like Killeen, Texas, up to 60 miles an hour, and that will just continue to grow and push eastward. By the time we wake up tomorrow at around 5 a.m. there, we've got a fully fledged MCS and big-time MCS at that. There across sections of east central Texas and extreme southeast Oklahoma. Damaging winds of the large hail, maybe a couple of isolated tornadoes will be making their way through Killeen, Waco, Sulphur Springs, the eastern outer suburbs of DFW, and this is only going to continue to push further eastward. If we take a look at the 0Z run of the HRRR, we can look further out into the future, and we can see that as we get into tomorrow around noon, these storms do start to dissipate a little bit. However, we do see some major resparking in these storms tomorrow evening around 6 p.m. We're going to have this line of storms stretching all the way from portions of northeastern Arkansas, like Jonesboro, all the way back through into the Gulf of America there. So we're definitely going to have to watch this at this point. Damaging winds are definitely going to be a possibility, and maybe even a couple of isolated tornadoes if we do get some discrete supercells out ahead of this line of storms like the HRRR has been hinting at for a while now. And then that damaging wind threat will persist all the way through Thursday night, all the way potentially even into Friday morning here around 9 a.m. Maybe we're dealing with some leftover thunderstorms across sections of Dixie Alley here. So that is the forecasting for this severe weather event. Again, right now we don't really have too much of a threat going on. We're kind of just watching these storms getting going, but the further we go into this stream and the later we get into the nighttime hours, the more significant and intense things will get. So these storms right now are crossing I-35 in between Dallas-Fort Worth and Waco, Texas for the most part. Now, we do have some storms stretching all the way back up through like the Tulsa Metroplex region, or excuse me, the Tulsa Metro region, not the Tulsa Metroplex, but these storms are mainly going to be sub-severe out here in east central Oklahoma. As you can see, we've only got temperatures here in the 40s actually in eastern Oklahoma right now, so really nowhere near enough to sustain severe thunderstorms. We do have this little baby supercell that's actually developed in portions of Kansas, and that is not super surprising, but it is kind of interesting to see that it is developing a little bit of a hail core there, and it's kind of taking that classic supercellular shape but smaller. But we are actually expecting some storms in especially northeastern Kansas to potentially develop, and maybe even some snow mixing into them as well, and that could lead to some minor accumulations in some spots. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Stream Chat. Everybody let me know where you're tuning in from so that we know what areas we need to look out for. By the way, we went 22 days without having a tornado here, but we did have a brief, very weak landspout on the northwest side of Albuquerque, New Mexico today with our New Mexico storms that we had out earlier this afternoon. If we take a look at the historical radar data here, we can see that we did have some thunder showers around, but again, it was just a landspout that crossed I-40. It's not like it was a big-time tornado or anything, so obviously that's good. But that was a big shock to see because I don't think a lot of people were expecting any sort of landspout threat out there in New Mexico today, but it did end up happening. So let me go ahead and get Stream Chat up here. This is a live look from Killeen, Texas while we do that. This is from the Radar Omega Cyclone report. We can see it's rainy, it's windy, it's nasty, it's grimy, and that is only going to get worse by tomorrow. So let's go ahead and get this up here so I can see everybody that's tuning in tonight. It looks like we got quite a few people in here, actually, so that's always great to see what's going on, everybody. What is going on? Alex, Gooseman, Michelle, Mr. Storm, Peachy, Derek, Hannah, Sky, Cardboard, Jan, we got Mobile, Alabama, Troy, Ohio, Cincinnati. We've got Denver, Colorado. Got a wide range of folks out here across the country today. So, again, I hope you guys are excited for this live stream. Again, we're going to be doing some severe weather coverage here tonight, obviously, as you can tell. We did have a big-time winter storm up here. I believe it's like Winter Storm Freya was the name. It impacted sections of northern New England here. We had several instances over the past several days of significant snow squalls, packing, damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. We had high wind warnings, and we're still seeing some significant heavy snow right now across sections of upstate New York as well, but it is starting to kind of go on a downward trend there. But you can definitely see there's a significant amount of snow up there, so definitely nothing to play around with, but we do think that that event should kind of make its way out of the United States here relatively soon. So give me just a second. I'm trying to push this stream out to as many people as possible. I encourage you guys to do the same, since a lot of people don't know that severe weather is even possible in January. Even in Texas, a lot of people don't think that severe weather happens in January. They think that it's a springtime thing and a summertime thing only. That is just not the case. These little events sometimes do end up overperforming a significant amount, and sometimes they are some of our more significant tornado outbreaks that we see in the year. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be one, but I am saying that we're definitely having the potential to see a couple of surprise tornadoes here, especially tomorrow. We talked a lot about today. Hey, what's up, Sam? Thank you for the $2 donation. Let's get some WSAMs in the chat. Thank you very much. Donating is optional, but as many of you guys know, it is greatly appreciated. So again, big thank you to Sam for sending in that donation. They're going to WSAM in chat, and Sam will now go on the top donors board for tonight. Eventually, I do want to make it so that we're giving back to these communities. Like, hey, there's Stormrunner Media. What's going on? I do want to make it eventually so that, you know, we're kind of donating back to these communities that do get impacted by big-time blizzards, tornadoes, hurricanes, stuff like that. But yeah. We got Sam there with the $2 donation. Again, greatly appreciated. Thank you very much. So what's going on, Stormrunner Media? Thank you for tuning in tonight. Let's get some Stormrunner Medias in the chat. Again, right now we are watching this line of storms just getting going. Again, a couple kinks of rotation down in the southern part of the line where the storms are a bit messier. Up here towards the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, we're mainly going to be watching for a flooding threat and a damaging wind threat there. We can see we definitely got that clear line of storms there. You can see on the velocities even. Okay, so let me get a post out for this on X, and we should be good to go after that. We should be just chilling, streaming here for the rest of the night. Again, this is probably going to be a bigger thing tomorrow than what we're seeing tonight. Again, tomorrow we will be live here once more covering severe weather tomorrow evening and tomorrow afternoon across sections of Dixie Alley. We're going to be talking about widespread damaging winds of 60 to 70 miles an hour, some isolated tornadoes, and also some large hail definitely being a possibility as well. Why is my YouTube glitching? Davis getting slammed by heavy rain. Yeah, it's not common that I do end up seeing thunderstorms this time of year, but I am actually in that general thunder risk that we have there for tomorrow. If we take a look at the HRRR model, we do see that we are going to have some rain into portions of the Ohio River Valley, maybe a few thunderstorms, but whenever you get that far north, there's not really a severe threat to watch out for. Hey, Smoke Eater 74 with the $20 donation. Massive thank you. W Smoke Eater 74 in the chat. Thank you for tuning in. That is awesome. Again, that is greatly appreciated. That is amazing support. So thank you very much for that. That really does help out this channel more than you could ever know. See you later, Gooseman. But that is seriously amazing. I really do appreciate that. So let's get Smoke Eater on the board there with the $20 donation. Again, very generous stuff that helps out the channel a lot. It helps us potentially get better equipment in the future. Again, giving back to these communities that have been impacted by severe storms, tornadoes, hurricanes, all sorts of stuff. Again, it also just lets me know, even if I'm not planning on doing anything with this money in the near future, that this is really a potential career option in the future, which is awesome, because this is something that I've wanted to do for a while now. What's up, Mr. Twister? It's going pretty good. But yeah, as I was saying, we could definitely end up seeing a few thunderstorms, sub-severe, obviously, into portions of the Ohio River Valley. You're about to go to bed, you're exhausted, it's only 8, it'd be like that some nights, I'll be honest. But we also are going to have kind of a separate storm mode here into portions of northeastern Kansas, like we were talking about earlier. That's going to kind of develop mostly tomorrow, but if we take a look at this here, we definitely could end up seeing some flooding rain around the Kansas City metro region. I definitely wouldn't rule that out, and again, maybe if some snow does mix in there, like the HRRR model has been hinting at, we could end up seeing some significant impacts with that as well, and then that'll kind of work its way through sections of the Great Lakes, bringing some more of that nice old lake effect snow that many of you are familiar with at this point. So again, tomorrow we got that slight risk of severe weather going out for sections of far southwest Mississippi, a little sliver of southeast Arkansas, most of Louisiana, and extreme southeastern Texas here. And if we take a look at the specific threats that this brings, we see that we do actually have, we need to turn on tomorrow's outlook, but we do have that 5% tornado risk going out there everywhere from Houston, Texas, back up towards the Lake Providence, Louisiana area there, up towards the Rolling Fork, Mississippi region. So again, that's the area where we do think several tornadoes could be possible tomorrow embedded in our line of storms, and maybe a few tornadoes that could potentially not really be on the stronger side of things, but be a little bit more intense if they do pop out from supercells that are discrete ahead of our line, if that does end up happening, like the HRRR has been saying is possible now for a while. It really all comes down to storm mode tomorrow. If we take a look at Cape values, we can see they're really nothing special if we're being completely honest here, but it is kind of just enough to fuel our storms. If we take a look at this on the HRRR model, we'll take a look at surface-based Cape in particular, because that's the one that I would say matters the most. See you, Mr. Twister. But if we take a look at this, we do see that we are actually going to have a few hundred joules per kilogram of Cape across sections of pretty much the entire state of Louisiana there tomorrow evening. And it is actually a little bit higher even tonight in portions of central Texas. We've got areas approaching 1,000 joules per kilogram of Cape, which is typically right around the mark where you start to see severe thunderstorms and a couple of isolated tornadoes pop up. Now, again, obviously Cape is not the only thing that matters for a severe weather setup. We do have a decent amount of wind shear, actually. I think if we had more Cape, this could be an even more significant threat. But you'll also notice that other batch of Cape there over portions of Oklahoma. It's kind of the separate storm mode we were talking about. And then maybe even a few more storms pop up with some extra instability that we have sitting over the Tennessee Valley, which is pretty interesting to see. Yes, much more of a high shear, low Cape setup, which honestly is not usually what we see with these Dixie Alley events. This one's kind of a wild card, but that is what's happening this time around. But again, it is important to keep in mind that even if we do end up only seeing 1 or 2 tornadoes tomorrow or tonight, that ends up changing people's lives forever. Whether they are, EF0 intensity or EF5 intensity, it really doesn't make a difference. Every tornado is a dangerous tornado, and even if we don't see any tornadoes, damaging winds and flooding are still a major concern. Again, damaging winds up to 70 miles an hour are going to be possible tomorrow across sections of East Texas and Louisiana there. And then also we're going to be talking about the threat for, again, a couple of tornadoes embedded in that line of storms, but also a flooding threat. If we take a look at the day 2 excessive rainfall outlook, we can see that we've got a slight risk of flash flooding across areas in the Ohio Valley all the way back through the Red River Valley there. That goes from areas like Louisville, Kentucky back through northeast Texas, and they have added a secondary marginal risk of flash flooding for sections of the upper Midwest there. It really all depends on if this is going to be snow or rain. A lot of the models have kind of trended more towards the idea that this is going to be rain, but again, the HRRR has said that a little bit of snow is likely going to mix in there, but that separate storm mode certainly could potentially bring some isolated flooding to portions of the upper Midwest areas like Chicago, Illinois, Davenport, Iowa, back through parts of southeast Iowa, northeast Missouri. Wouldn't even be shocked if they were to extend that a little bit further west. Definitely could see a small/localized tornado event across Louisiana and western Mississippi. Yeah, tomorrow is really going to be the day to watch. We do have a day 3 marginal risk of severe weather out for Friday. It's looking like we're going to have the remnants of our storms kind of fizzling out in the very early morning hours, so probably not going to be live for that event. But it does look like we could see a couple of severe thunderstorms remaining in sections of southwestern Georgia, the Florida Panhandle, southeastern Alabama, areas like that there. But I definitely do think that we actually could see a couple of tornadoes tomorrow that could potentially be somewhat significant. Again, obviously, we're not going to see like a strong tornado threat or anything like that. You're not seeing strong tornadoes with 1,000 joules per kilogram of surface-based Cape, but we definitely do have that potential to see a couple tomorrow. Yes, QLCS tornado outbreaks slash events are usually the most difficult ones to forecast. Luckily, in this situation, we kind of have a better grip on the setup here than we do for most events like this. We kind of know what we're going to expect. We're going to expect that big-time line of damaging winds to sweep through, potentially produce a couple of isolated tornadoes. But again, it all becomes a problem if we have discrete supercells out ahead of the line. If that happens, we could actually be looking at a pretty serious tornado threat. So if we take a look at the reflectivity here once more on the ARRR, we play this out on the future track. Let's go back to the 0-0 run so that we can get further into the day tomorrow. We can see that, again, the big-time tornado threat wouldn't come really with our QLCS event. Obviously, we could see a brief spin-up or two. It's these little discrete supercells that are ahead of the line that typically are the problem with events like this. Now, these aren't going to have a super great environment to work with, so it's not like most outbreaks like where we see discrete supercells out ahead of a line of storms and we have, a strong tornado threat. It's not like that. But I'm definitely going to say that we definitely could see a couple of tornadoes somewhere with these little discrete cells if that does end up happening. Now, not all the models are saying that that's going to happen. The ARRR is, I haven't looked too closely at the NAM for this event, just because the ARRR is typically a bit more reliable to look at, but if we take a look at the NAM, it does have a few discrete storms that have our line as well there. Yeah, if there's any more CAPE than forecasted, then we actually could be looking at a pretty decent scale severe weather outbreak tonight into tomorrow. Again, we're already talking about some flooding ongoing across sections of the DFW Metroplex. I don't have flood warnings turned on because they take up a lot of alerts on the Radar Omega Outlook here, but if we take a look at these here, we can see that we've got quite a few of them on the northern portions of the DFW Metroplex. Flood advisories, we've got even more of there surrounding the Dallas-Fort Worth area in particular. There we've got Fort Worth under one. We got northern Dallas under a flood advisory as well. And again, that will continue to push further eastward as our line continues to push further eastward, right? So that's kind of what we're looking out for here tonight. Again, some flooding may also be possible localized anyways into sections of southeastern Oklahoma with some thunderstorms, but anyways, yeah. I kind of just rambled there for a long time. My voice got kind of tired. So how is everybody's day going? Again, let me know where y'all are tuning in from if you've not already. Again, massive thank you to Smoke Eater 74 and Sam for your generosity. Again, it does help out a lot. And massive thank you to everybody tuning in. I'm in my environment. I'm locked in, chat. Have some cameras up on your PC in Dallas looking for lightning. These storms further down towards the Waco area look a bit more electrified according to Radar Omega's lightning tracker, but we definitely do have some lightning strikes in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and even through portions of Oklahoma and Kansas, some of these storms are strong enough to produce lightning there. But again, we have had some brief areas of rotation spin up in the southern portion of these storms down by the Gatesville area, Waco, Texas, and we do kind of have one of those right now over Highway 84. This is one of our ones that's kind of been going on for a while, actually. This one was down towards the Kempner, Texas area earlier. It's just so weak that it's hardly even worth mentioning, but it does look like we do have some broad rotation there sitting over the Highway 84 corridor in between South Mountain and Oglesby. Obviously, no ongoing tornado or anything like that at this time. Broderick's probably excited. Yeah, I mean, even in, say, northern Texas, it's somewhat rare to see an event like this in January. Usually, severe weather outbreaks really are limited to southern Dixie Alley and the southern portions of the Deep South, if you don't want to call Texas Dixie Alley. But it is definitely not rare to see something like this make its way into, like, North Texas, but it doesn't happen every time that we have a severe weather event like this, so all you guys that are storm lovers out there in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, which there are a lot of, are probably enjoying this one quite a bit. Again, I can't believe that all the way up here in central Illinois, we're going to be seeing some heavy rain and some thunderstorms in January. That is just crazy. But yeah. And actually, February looks like it could be quite active for these similar areas here. It's looking like we're going to get into a pattern that's going to be a bit more active than the one that we've been in recently. It's not like we're expecting any major tornado outbreaks, though. It's going to be kind of these smaller scale outbreaks over and over again, which obviously we like because it takes the pressure off a little bit, and also it limits the risk of major destruction from big-time tornadoes or derechos or stuff like that. But we definitely are going to, I just said definitely twice in one sentence. we're definitely going to have that potential to see some significant thunderstorms make their way even through areas like the Ohio Valley here over the next few weeks, according to the GFS model. Obviously, you shouldn't take specifics from the GFS this far out, but it is worth noting that this is a trend that's been happening. So big-time thunderstorms could be possible across Dixie Alley and even portions of the Tennessee and Ohio Valleys over the next few weeks. But again, take that all with a grain of salt. As of right now, it's been showing some of them being winter storms, some of them being severe weather outbreaks. It changes from run to run just because we have no idea. What you should take away from this, again, though, is that there's definitely going to be that significant potential for some sort of moisture up here in the Ohio Valley over the next several weeks. Haven't had a good thunderstorm in a minute for Massachusetts. Just been snow, rain, and cold. Yeah, it's been a similar story out here in Illinois. But it has been a nice break. It's been a nice time to prepare for the craziness that 2025 will likely bring us. Again, if you haven't already, make sure to check out our 2025 severe weather forecast. I spent quite a while on that video, and you guys really seem to like it, so I'm very glad. I think I'm going to do more long-range forecasts like that in the future, since you guys did enjoy that one so much there. But make sure to check that out if you've not already, so you know what your area can expect this year in terms of what we're thinking for a severe weather threat. Again, I've never done a long-range forecast for severe weather in particular, so take that all with a grain of salt. But I put quite a bit of research into it, and I'm pretty happy with the result that we got out. So again, it's just going to be kind of fun for me to look back at the end of this year and see, was this really accurate, or was this just a complete load of crap? But yeah. Again, I really think this is going to be the return of Dixie Alley. Sure, we've had some big tornadoes in Dixie Alley over the past few years. We had Rolling Fork, Mississippi just recently. We had Port Arthur, Texas. We had Butte, Mississippi just recently, obviously. We had Allendale, South Carolina. What else have we had recently down in Dixie Alley? We've had several Florida tornadoes from hurricanes, but that's not really Dixie Alley. But I do think that this year is going to be... I hate to throw out the term 2011-like because that scares a lot of folks down here in the Deep South, but we could have the potential to possibly see something in the realm of 2011's activity in the Deep South. If you want to know the reasons why, again, check out the forecast. Obviously, it's a lot easier to have multiple takes on explaining something like that than just kind of freestyling here on a stream, but... yeah. I do that a lot. I just start saying, yeah. By the way, chat, remember we are doing one sit-up for every sub that we gain in January here pretty soon. Again, January's been a pretty slow month, but that's alright. Again, December was crazy. The beginning of January was crazy. There just hasn't been that much activity this month. So I've been kind of fine with having a slower month. You know, it's kind of, again, an opportunity to prepare for the next few months. Obviously, we're approaching spring, which is just going to be the craziest. We're getting close to Summit, unbelievably close to Summit. We are 2 weeks away, which doesn't even feel real, since I've been ready for this for months now. But yeah, again, I don't think that we're going to see any of these storms reach severe limits here for the next little while. Again, maybe we get an isolated gust over 60 miles an hour, but I think it's really going to be until tomorrow that we have to wait to see these explode. And we've had some broad rotation on some of the storms further down to the south towards areas like Waco and Killeen, Texas, but still nothing crazy. Again, a lot of the activity, a lot of the action is really going to get going tomorrow, though. So, again, a couple of tornadoes likely. We're going to end up seeing some significant damaging winds, quite possibly, too, through sections of eastern Texas and most of the state of Louisiana, really, especially in this little corridor right here. Would not rule out any isolated gusts up to 75 miles an hour. They have not thrown out a hatched indicator for the wind threat, but I would not be shocked to see some considerable severe level winds Not sure if you included this in your forecast, but what month do you expect to be peak activity in Dixie? See, I don't want to say anything on that just because, what if things are completely different just in every aspect in December than what we think they're going to be now? What if, I say April because in the short term it looks like spring could be pretty active for Dixie Alley, but then next winter things just absolutely go nuts. Like, I don't really want to make a call out that specific quite yet, just because it's not really based in reality at that point. It is just such a educated guess. The Dixie Alley spring forecast gets me glued to the tube. It had direct hit from the Tuscaloosa 2011 tornado, so I keep my eyes peeled and head on a swivel these days. Head on a swivel, I've never heard that term. Learning something new every day. But what's going on, William? Do you think I could see any significant events this year? Certainly. Yeah, I mean, Northern Alabama obviously is in Dixie Alley. I would consider it, so we will see what happens. I think it's been since 2021 since we've had a Dixie Alley high risk, unless you want to count March 31st, 2023, but I count that as a Mississippi Valley thing because there were two high risks. One of them was just barely in Dixie Alley, so I don't think you can really call it a Dixie Alley event. The other one was nowhere near Dixie Alley. That was a Mississippi Valley thing, in my opinion. So if we're saying that doesn't count as a Dixie Alley high risk, the last Dixie Alley high risk would have been in 2021. We had a few in 2021 down in portions of Alabama and Mississippi, as well as Georgia. We even had a 45% hatched risk, which is something that we haven't seen as well since 2021. But yeah. So again, I think if things continue to be pretty tame here, which again they should, we should be fine to hop off early tonight. Prepare for tomorrow, since tomorrow is going to be a pretty long day. I know people are going to ask, is an upgrade to an enhanced risk possible? And I'm just going to say probably not at this point. You don't really get enhanced risks far too often whenever you have 1,000 joules per kilogram of surface-based cape. It really doesn't matter at that point how much wind shear you have. There's only a certain amount that those storms are going to be able to do with 1,000 cape. I was putting together a forecast for severe weather like a week ago, and I forecast this event before the SPC picked up on it. Yeah, this one was somewhat forecasted by the GFS. It's kind of been pulling the idea of this out for the past couple of weeks that this could have happened. Will Missouri get hit tomorrow? Missouri's not really going to be a problem, though. If you're asking if thunderstorms are possible, I would say definitely, but severe weather should make its way far south of Missouri. I will say if you had to look out for anything, maybe some isolated flooding, we do have a slight risk for flash flooding in extreme southeastern Missouri areas like Cape Girardeau southward, and we've also got a marginal risk for excessive rainfall in northeast Missouri from that secondary mode of storms that we're expecting. So we'll definitely watch out for some potential flooding here across parts of the Ohio Valley. Certainly can't rule it out. But again, the Ohio Valley, if you had to watch for anything, it would be flooding, lightning, heavy rain, some gusty winds, nothing outside of that. Yeah, that's fine, William. That's alright. Again, you've been so supportive and so amazing. I appreciate it. But yeah. So again, tomorrow our marginal risk there goes all the way from the Little Rock, Arkansas region all the way back down to the Gulf Coast. What's up, Clint? Our slight risk encompasses nearly 5 million people. I don't know why I was thinking 10 million. I guess I was thinking of our marginal risk for today. There's a mesoscale discussion, by the way, out for flash flooding. We haven't really talked about that, but it is there. If we go ahead and turn that on really quickly, we can see flash flooding will be possible over sections of northeast Texas, southwest Arkansas, and southeastern Oklahoma tonight. With this line of thunderstorms, again, we're already seeing some of that starting to unfold across the DFW region. But that is the only mesoscale that we've had today for this event. Again, obviously heavy snow and stuff has been a problem up in portions of northern New England, but yeah, I did see that. That's very unfortunate. See, I saw that before we started the stream. It's crazy stuff. Wonder what the Farmer's Almanac is saying about this year. Hey, we're back over 3,250 subs. Thank you guys so much. Again, we're going to be live for pretty much every event that we can be here over the next several years. This is something that I love doing. Love helping you guys. In the recent major events, we provided tens of... Well, if you're talking about total, we've provided hundreds of hours of coverage for significant severe weather and tornado outbreaks, hurricanes, winter storms, all the such. We go live almost every day, even whenever other people aren't here for this. So if you are interested in keeping up with things weather-wise on the daily, make sure to click that sub button, turn notifications on. Again, it helps out this channel a lot. Really do appreciate it. But, yeah. So, again, I think that since we are not seeing any crazy activity here tonight, which, again, we weren't expecting to see anything this early anyways. This is just the beginning of this line developing here. Again, we'll go through one last run of the ARRR before we call it a wrap for tonight. Again, we're expecting these storms to develop further around the midnight hour. We're going to really start to see that damaging wind threat start to pop up there across portions of Oklahoma and Texas. But it really enhances by the early morning hours of tomorrow. This is 5 a.m. Damaging winds will be a significant problem across sections of east central Texas, there northeast Texas as well. And if we go back down to the 1Z run of the ARRR model, we can see that even all the way into tomorrow evening. We're going to be dealing with this line still. This is tomorrow afternoon. We start to see the line weaken out a little bit, but if we go back to the 0Z run of the ARRR, we can see that it does re-strengthen as it takes advantage of that limited cape and extensive wind shear that we have across sections of Louisiana and Mississippi there. So that'll continue, and then again, even into Friday, we're talking about the remnants of these storms potentially causing some gusty winds and flooding rains across sections of Georgia, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, maybe even sections of South Carolina could pick up on some flooding, and then snow and even some rain in portions of New England and the eastern Ohio Valley. So again, that's going to be it for today. If you guys did enjoy this stream, make sure to click that like and subscribe button. We will be back here for really an unknown amount of time for severe weather coverage tomorrow. I'm really not too sure at this point. It could be anywhere from 30 minutes all the way up to several hours if needed. So again, make sure to click that notification bell so you get notified whenever we do go live. I think I'm going to schedule the stream right after we end this one off here. I have a general idea of when we want to go live. It's just the end time that we'll really have to see. So again, thank you all for tuning in.